Welcome back to the Ipswich View. It's the trip to Blackburn Rovers this Good Friday, which we're previewing now. We're going to look back at the Sheffield Wednesday result. We'll talk about injuries and the fitness of the squad. We're also going to get Iain's view as to whether club comes before country. And the guest on the Ipswich View this week is our Rovers fan, Harry. Good evening, Harry. How are you?
Good evening, mate. Not too bad, thank you.
Are you looking forward to Ipswich Town rolling into town?
Well, I wouldn't say looking forward. It's difficult to look forward to Rovers games at the minute, although I will say much improved at the weekend. We know how good Ipswich are, though. Real good side, come with a lot of force. They're probably going to be, they definitely will be favourites. Just hoping that we can put up a good fight, maybe nick a point if we're lucky, but let's not beat around the bush. We know how good Ipswich are.
Okay. All right, Iain. So we've got 8 cup finals left to go. Back-to-back promotions are on the cards. Let's talk about Sheffield Wednesday briefly. Danny Roll thought he could turn up and go head-to-head. He went 4-4-2 and he went for it, and he got swatted away like a fly 6 times. What was your view on that game?
They were poor. In a word, I thought that when we played Birmingham were poor with the way they gave away possession. But Sheffield Wednesday, it was, I'm not going to say embarrassing, but there was no fight there. There was no kind of spirit within the Sheffield Wednesday team. They literally did roll over, to excuse the pun. And it was a day when Ipswich, everything was clicking. Same day that Sheffield Wednesday, nothing was clicking. Barry Bannon gone AWOL. So, yeah, it was a great game to watch, certainly as an Ipswich fan.
Yeah. What do you make of Leeds going top then? You've obviously seen both of Leeds and Leicester now, and you can compare them all now to your side. Where honestly do you think Ipswich are going to finish within this mix?
Leeds have actually gone top at last. It's taken them until March to do that. Although credit where it's due. I mean, there was a massive points gap between Leicester and Leeds, which they've scaled. But at the same time, Ipswich have also closed the gap to Leicester. And I think a lot of clubs are missing that. They're seeing Leeds catching both Ipswich and Leicester. Well, no, Ipswich and Leeds have both climbed up. Yes, Leeds have overtaken us, but it's by a point or so. It's Leeds are strong, but no one really can say in this division. That's the great thing about the Championship, but it's not pinned on. And Leicester maybe thought that back in November, and we're seeing what's happening now. So yeah. It's gonna play out over the next 3 weeks, I think, and then maybe come end of April, we'll maybe have a better idea. I still think it's a good chance to go down to the last game though.
That last 5 minutes of the Cardiff game is gonna come back and haunt Ipswich, isn't it? Because you'd be sitting top, wouldn't you? If that those last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that is the difference. 95th and 100th minute is the difference between us being top of the table and us having bragging rights.
All right, how do you rate Blackburn then? Obviously, a different manager from when you played them last time, 4-3. Classic down at Pullman Road in late September. But this is not a John Dahl Thomas and Blackburn anymore.
I was impressed with them when they came down. I liked the way they played. It reminded me of those years when they had a lot of Icelandic influences. I thought one of their better players on the day was, funny enough, now an Ipswich player with Lewis Travis. They had Gallagher going out injured, I think, start of the season hasn't done them any help. They've relied so heavily on Sammy to be the goal scorer, and which he has dutifully done. But they've got a habit of, breaking teams down, but just not having firepower. They're one-dimensional when it comes to scoring goals, as we've seen. And if they could offer threats from out wide, maybe that would open it up. But right now, it's a case of, be patient as a visiting team, I think, at Ewood Park. And I think you'll come away with a point at least. And the options to get more than one goal for Ipswich is certainly open, despite us losing Wes Burns. It'll be an interesting game.
Harry, tell the Ipswich faithful what sort of form Blackburn are in and how they go about beating you.
Well, it's sort of we've become more difficult to beat than sort of the tail end of Thomason's tenure, but just not being able to win games. 1 win out of our last 17. Again, picking up points. I think we've only lost 2 of our last 9 or 10 or something like that. So we're not losing too many. A lot of draws, picking up points, just slowly chugging along. But yeah, we need to start picking up some points. As for how we go set up against Ipswich, it's going to be completely different to what you'd expect. Ipswich fans would expect from when you saw us at the start of the season. John Del Thomason sort of wanted to go toe to toe, playing football, sort of possession-based football against a side like Ipswich that know how to play that kind of football and play it better than us. Eustace is going to set us up to be more solid, more direct, maybe make it a little bit more scrappy. Which might work in our favour. Is if Friday night, if Ewood Park, if we get a decent little turnout there, fans get behind us. We could potentially be in for a point there if we're lucky. But yeah, of course, we know how good Ipswich are. It's going to be a difficult task.
Okay. All right, Iain. Then Ipswich are flying. You've got a massive game coming up in a weekend's time at Carrow Road. So this is your last away game. Before that, what's the latest in terms of players available, players injuries? What sort of shape do you think Town are going to be in heading to Ewood?
Well, I think Wes Burns is the one. I wouldn't say he's a doubt. I would say he's out. His Instagram post would point at the fact that he's got a hamstring injury that will probably take longer to heal than we have left in the season. Our strength at the moment for Ipswich is the depth. We've got ability to cover Wes Burns on that wing. Ideally, it would have been Amari Hutchinson, but he had to step in last week for Connor Chaplin, who himself was not well. So I'm hoping that Connor will be back to full fitness, and then we'll either have Amari or Caden Jackson on that right wing. So they're the only injuries at the moment. Obviously, we've got Kiefer Moore and Broadhead who'll be playing for Wales this week. Let's hope they come out of that unscathed. And Cameron Burgess, I think, played this morning against Lebanon for Australia. I think he's come out unscathed, as has Sarmiento from his game with Ecuador. So, yeah, it's a difference from a couple of international breaks ago where we did actually lose 2 players for injuries.
And Rovers fans will be desperate to know, how's Lewis Travis done for you?
He's been brilliant when he came to us. His first game into the club, he was phenomenal. But then he went into the club's rotation and he hasn't been able to dominate a starting position. He hasn't been able to say that that's me, but that's very much the way Kieran McKenna works. Whether he will start on Friday, I don't know. There's every chance he could, because it depends how Kieran wants to play it for the Southampton game. I would potentially see him as playing, to be honest, because I think he might want to rest Massimo Luongo so that he and Sammy Morsey together are at their full fitness when we play Southampton, because we know that their strength at Southampton through the middle, pushing on to Armstrong, is going to need, it's going to need us to dominate the midfield. But yeah, it's very difficult to predict an Ipswich starting 11 where we've had an international break, to be honest.
Okay. Harry, back to you and just talk about some of the little bits of stuff off the field. Leeds are charging Blackburn £47, I think, for an adult ticket, which the club have stepped in and are going to subsidise it. What's your view on that? Is it ever right for a club in the Championship to charge another set of fans £47?
Well, I think it's ridiculous, and that's not just from the perspective of a skint uni student. I think that football lives and dies on its fans. If there's no fans there, then what's the point? The fans come, that's the whole point in the sport, I think. And it's ridiculous. I don't want to get too sort of away from football, but finances in general, sort of just coming out of the cost of living crisis, people haven't got that much disposable income. And you're charging 50 quid for people to go watch their team, and that's paying their money to go watch their team on the Saturday is an escape for a lot of people. But if you're charging 50 quid, I think it's ridiculous. I think you've got to be looking back. I think 20 is the most you should be looking to pay, and I think if you pay less, more fans will come. That's the problem with Rovers. Rovers have struggled to get gates in. But some games are charged extensive amounts for tickets. It's not a particularly wealthy area. People struggle to afford that kind of money. So I think it should definitely be cheaper. I think at 50 quid is an outrage.
We spoke to a Leeds fan earlier on the Leeds Terrace talk, who said, well, it's because Blackburn didn't agree the reciprocal arrangements the start of the year, so did charge Leeds fans when they visited a little bit more, but I don't think it was to the tune of £47. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. So yeah, if you're a Blackburn fan, comment below what you think of that Leeds deal, and whether you'll still be travelling. Are you going to be going to Ellen Roads based on the subsidy, or?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I was supposed to be going, but difficult to to warrant the plucking out 50 quid for a ticket. Obviously, I'd like to go. Ellen Road's not a ground that I've been to before, and that may be why, because it's too expensive to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, mate. Hopefully.
Okay. All right then. Finally, then let's ask you both about club versus country. So we're gearing up for the Euros now. So it's naturally reared its head, this classic old question of club versus country. Harry, would you sooner see Blackburn be promoted to the Premier League or England win the Euros?
Without a doubt, Blackburn promoted, and it's not even close. Not even close at all. I mean, obviously, England do. If England win, then sure, I'm happy about that. But I suppose I've got English and Irish connections. I don't really have an allegiance to one nation. I sort of support them both. But it's in the international tournaments before. As soon as they're knocked out, I'm really not that fussed. I don't have the same connection with them because I'm watching. It's a team that you watch twice every 4 years, whereas a team you're watching week in, week out. I'd rather anything for Blackburn over England. I've got to say that might be selfish, but I've not seen us win as much as a raffle in the 20 years of supporting them. So it would be nice to see us do something.
Iain, same to you. Ipswich promotion or England Euros?
Yeah, Ipswich promotion all day. And technically, I'm actually a Scotland fan anyway. But until any manager in the England job is willing to actually look outside the Premier League, I don't have that much kind of sympathy for any result they gain, especially when we know that there are weaknesses in their team. But yeah, Ipswich promotion is going to be the number one interest for me over any other fixture.
All right, let's get some predictions from you then. So despite Ipswich's superb campaign so far, terrible record at Ewood Park, haven't won there in the league since 1991. So will that all change on Good Friday? Harry, you're at home, so you can have first pick.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, I think that maybe Eustace might set us up better against the big sides than John Dale Thomason did, just because of that sort of be a bit more solid, a bit more stable, not trying to play the same football as Ipswich can play with, because we know Ipswich are better than us at playing football. Yeah, Ewood Park, we've done all right there. I mean, we've not been winning, but we've not been losing, which is the most important thing at the minute. I think our most recent defeats have both been on the road. I don't think Eustace has lost a game at Ewood yet. Obviously, this is our toughest test so far since Eustace has come in. Heart says that we may pick up a point. Head says it's probably unlikely. I think Ipswich will go on and win.
Not 4-3 though. Yeah.
2-0, I think, most likely.
Thanks, Harry. Iain?
Yeah, I mean, we've been scoring 19 goals in 6 games, but one thing about Blackburn is they know how to stifle strong teams. Yeah, we saw that against Newcastle, against Norwich when they started that form, against Mill when they went into the resurgence. I'd like to think we can get a clean sheet. I'd love to say it'd be 3-0, but I think that the situation probably says it's going to be 2-0 to Ipswich, unless Sammy Smog can pop his head up in there and make it 2-1. But yeah, I'm going to go same as Harry, a 2-0 away win for Ipswich, and just kind of fingers crossed that, because it's a tea-time fixture, that we already know the fate of both Leicester and Leeds and Southampton.
All right. Thank you very much, both. And thank you all Rovers fans for watching. If you haven't yet done so, please hit that subscribe button. It really, really helps us grow this channel. And if any of you want to come on and talk with Harry about any of the remaining 6 games, look in the email address and drop us an email. Drop me and Harry an email and let us know that you'd like to come on and chat, and we'll gladly have you on here in the following weeks. Thank you very much. Enjoy the game, both of you, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.